Hello. Vote for Jacq O'Connell, City of West Tawakoni. Here's my sign if you haven't seen it. They're being dropped off. I had a ton of requests for my sign, so I will be dropping those off. I just got another order in. My name, again, is Jacqueline O'Connell, but everybody calls me Jacq, and I'm running for City Council.
So what's up, Jacq?
Great things are up. What's up, Jacq? There's a lot of Jacq jokes. I've heard them all my life.
I know it.
But yeah, good things are up. We're at my home.
Yep.
I know one of the questions is what your passion is for the City of West Tawakoni, and I was glad that you guys could come and do that and do this interview in my home and see my love for the town.
Well, let's show your water.
Yeah. There's I don't know how it'll come across. There's a film on the window, but that's our HOA park right down there. I was president of the HOA for 3 years. Done a lot of good stuff in our community, and I've now passed the torch on to Alicia Lee, who is our current HOA president. But I'm excited to have you guys here, so thanks for coming out to my home.
Yep.
So, all right. So, what makes you the better candidate for this seat?
I will say two things: experience and respect.
Okay. So, what is the first thing you'd like to accomplish on City Council?
So this has always perplexed me. We have a lot of what seems to be infighting and catty behavior. I have been witness to people rolling their eyes and giving dirty looks to other people on the City Council. I think that if you are going to hold a position, you need to have a sense of professionalism and a spirit for teamwork. So I would first and foremost start bridging the gap, building relationships, trying to mend those that have been broken, so we can all start working together for the City of West Tawakoni.
So what makes West Tawakoni special to you?
So we're in my home today. My husband and I, so I'm the youngest of 6 kids. My sisters back in the 70s and 80s were big fans of West Tawakoni and know this area very well. One of my sisters, and we've all kind of scattered around, one of my sisters in particular came back to those roots, and she lives about 2.5 miles away from me, and she introduced this place to my husband and I, and then we spent about 2 years looking in every neighborhood, at every home that was for sale, at every lot that was for sale, and we found this interesting little gem, which used to be the HOA office for this development in the 60s. It was a fixer-upper. Dan and I have blood, sweat, and tears, definitely some tears, working on this house. But we're getting it into shape, and we really love it, and we love spending our time here.
So what is your take on all the abandoned and vacant, dilapidated commercial buildings along 276 through town? And in the short term, what would you do to get the property owners to rent, sell, or maintain the properties that are along the main thoroughfare?
Well, it is a travesty that our city looks the way it does. I will be honest. I heard a stat directly from the chief of police that we have 50,000 vehicles that travel through West Tawakoni every month. And that is only going to grow with the bridge that has been built and the extension. So when people come through this town and they see everything dilapidated and shut down, if they want to come and spend their money, they want to come and do business, they want to invest, they're gonna pass this right by. They're gonna go to Emory, they're gonna go to East Tawakoni and beyond, and we're gonna be really, really missing out, and we're gonna continue to look like a town that is dying. So you can't force a property owner to be responsible. You can pass city ordinances, of course, to work in the city's best interest, to pass city ordinances to clean up the town. Now, an amazing thing that's happened over the last couple years is we have hired Shannon, who works at the city for code enforcement, and she and Chief Alderson work very closely together to enforce the tickets, and they're doing a really, really great job. Now, we have to be patient with the process because Shannon's only been working there a couple years now, and slowly, little by little, things are changing. So it requires a little patience on our side, but I think as a team together, we need to figure out how to better support her, how to better support Chief Alderson, and keep pushing the ball forward.
So, do you think the city should have a Facebook page to get information out to the citizens?
Yes, absolutely. Not a question. My background is in technology. I work for a technology company. We are shooting this video and you are reading the questions on your phone, and I've got a timer on my phone for my next meeting that I'm going to be having, and this is where people are at. They don't go to meetings anymore. It is imperative to be using technology at your disposal to get to get communication out.
Right.
So, what is your vision for the future of West Tawakoni in the next 5 years?
Yes, so this ties into the $1 million question. So do you mind if I answer the $1 million question first and then tie it into this?
That's political. Go ahead.
That's political?
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah. Change my question. All right.
Well, they tie in together. So,
Okay.
So we can skip this one and go to that.
Go ahead.
so the question is, what would you do if the city got $1 million?
If you received a $1 million grant to use for the city in any way you wanted, what would you do with it and why?
Okay. So $1 million sounds like a ton of money, doesn't it?
Yep.
To all of us. And I think that the immediate response is roads.
Absolutely.
That makes the most sense. Water. That makes the most sense. We had a bid with the city. The city investigated because I'm in Arrowhead in West Tawakoni, and they had a bid for our water pipes. Our water pipes are the oldest in the entire city. Our community was built first, and then we were annexed into the city later, I believe. So our water pipes are the oldest, and we continue to have lots of problem with them. There's sediment, there's impurities, they're constantly having to come flush. The bid that they got to come and just replace our water pipes so that it was safe and clean for us was over $1 million. And that is just taking into consideration one small neighborhood.
Yep.
Okay. So $1 million, if you're talking about roads and water, is nothing.
Nope. It was $3 million was the research done by Calvin Travers,
There you go.
the mayor, to do Rabbit Cove.
Yeah.
$3 million. So $1 million ain't gonna get you very far.
It's not going to get you. But where it will get us is prepping for getting us to fix those problems. So along with what I'm seeing from certain people in the city council is childish behavior, where they are struggling on coming together, which I want to start help mend those relationships and get us thinking as a cohesive group. I would want to have a city planner come in and do a deep dive with the citizens on what they want our city to be. You can't, number one, we don't have a vision. So to your question on what I want for 5 years, right now, the city has no vision. The city council has no vision. There are people on the city council that don't have the experience to even figure out what a vision is and how to execute it. So I have tons of vision. I also know where my strengths are and where my weaknesses are. And for the town to develop a strong mission and a strong sense of self is where we're going to go. Once that is put into place, then people start to come, infrastructure starts to get fixed, and we're on the road to success, I would like to say. So it might seem a little backwards not to quickly say, let's take $1 million and do these projects, but that will only be a temporary fix for a chronic problem.
Okay. So whether you've already held office or not, how will you or what have you done to involve residents in the decision-making process in our town? And please give an example.
Sure, that's easy. So I was the president of our HOA here for 3 years. We've come a long way in this town. There were a lot of people that were going against the deed restrictions that we have here. There were lots of people that were delinquent in paying their HOA dues. There were a lot of people that just didn't see that the HOA was doing really anything, and so they wouldn't get involved. They didn't want to come to the meetings. So I worked closely with the people that have been in the community for a very long time, working with them directly. You can't work in a silo, right? You can't do it all on your own. You've got to have people work along with you. So working with the people that have been in the community for a long time, we started doing little things to improve. And those little things, brought more members into the community, showed people that had been delinquent on their bills why they should really be paying their HOA dues and what they get from that. And then I also worked with the city to start getting our roads fixed. That was a huge undertaking. Our roads are private roads, and we are supposed to care for them ourselves. And the money that we collect is just not enough to do it. So we worked out a deal with the city where we pay for certain materials and certain labor kind of changes, and then the city invests their time helping us do those things. So it's a win-win for both of us. Now we've got a really strong president that's taken my place. She is very involved as well, and she's taking the torch and she's running with it. And all those things that we implemented when I was HOA president, she is just taking the ball and run with it. So people are joining the community more so than they ever have. We have less delinquents than we ever have had, and people are choosing Arrowhead out of other communities to live because of the way of life we've kind of managed to have here.
So what is your approach to handling controversial and complicated issues?
Yeah, so I'm currently a professional. I'm not retired yet. One day soon, I hope. So I deal with this all the time. We work in technology. I manage the customer success and retention team for our company. We're a $35 million company. So every day I deal with people that are not happy. They've either encountered a problem with our program, our technology, or they've had a interaction with one of our staff members, something along the lines where there's a lot of upset, a lot of distrust, and a lot of just problems overall. So every single day, that's my job, is to fight fires, and I do it quite well. When I took over the role, we had a very terrible, I think we had maybe like a 10 or 12% what we call a save rate, keeping those customers happy and on board. We're now over a 35% save rate, which in my industry is huge.
Okay, so what would you say is your greatest weakness?
My greatest weakness, I think probably I'm impatient. That is always a struggle when you're working with government, because the wheels of government, as we know, move slowly. But one of my experiences along my professional career was working with the United States Census Bureau. So I worked on the largest advertising campaign in the history of the United States, and still stands to this day. And worked directly with members of Congress, subcommittee of Congress, and specific to the heads of the 2010 census. So you just have to, as impatient as I can be, I want things to happen. I want things to move forward. I'm a driver. My personality is of a driver, and that means I want to figure out a solution, get everyone on board, make sure we have all the pros and cons, make sure we understand the potential issues that might come up, and then move forward for that plan. So with government, you just have to stay focused, you have to stay on task, and you just have to work with everybody to continue to move forward.
Okay. So if someone came to you with a proposal to build a new piece of public infrastructure in the city, like a road or bridge, how would you evaluate whether or not that project was worth implementing?
Well, if it's a road or a bridge, that's not going to be a citizen. That's going to be Hunt County or some state of Texas. Usually projects like that are pretty well researched before they do that. There's a lot of money and infrastructure cost resources that go into this. So I honestly don't know what the recourse a small town has if the state or the county wants to do something like that. So that question I would have to research, honestly, a bit. But if it was deemed that we needed a bridge or something, I have to hope that enough research was done that it is a viable project that is being done for some reason. But if it's presented to the city council, however that stuff works out, you have to have a smart group of people that's asking the right questions. Right now, we don't have very many people on the city council, my opponent specifically, that knows to ask the right questions.
So what steps do you take when making decisions?
So you have to collect all the information. You have to collect it. And then when we're talking about this, the city of West Tawakoni, the city council can't work in a silo. They are representatives of the city, of the townspeople here. So if someone is brought a problem or an issue or a question, we have to see both sides. We can't just look at it and say, okay, well, what is it going to do for me in my neighborhood? It's, all right, does this look like it'll help all the citizens? Okay, usually there's no idea that helps all citizens, correct? Usually there's some compromise that has to happen somewhere. But it's asking the right questions, getting all the information, understanding where the people in the city of West Tawakoni come, and then making decisions or advising your opinion based on the information you've collected.
Okay, so what do you consider are the top 5 city functions, and please list them in order of priority.
So priority is budget, of course. They're also responsible for hiring or appointing boards, committees. They're also responsible for capital improvement to the city. They're also responsible for buying and selling of city land for the betterment of the community. I think, was that 5? Those are that's my top list. I mean,
Okay.
there are larger cities that have some other responsibilities that don't affect us here, but for our city council, those are the responsibilities, and you have to have experience doing those things to be able to successfully work towards the city to make it better.
Okay. So there's been an increase in the number of transients in the city the past year. Do you have any plans or ideas on what you'd like to see implemented to lower that number?
So that's a good question. Did the question change from the original one that I got?
Mm-hmm.
No? Okay.
No, it's just a 2-part.
Okay. So, yes, transients. There are transients. What I'm seeing most of is joblessness and drug addiction. Mm-hmm. So that both of those lead to homelessness. That also leads to where is that person or those people going to be able to take advantage of the best? Where are they going to have some sort of shelter? Where are they going to get free services? Where are they going to get their next score? So the police chief, when he started, he was the only police officer. They now have 3 more, I believe. Lavender, Thompson, and then there's a part-time one that splits between us and Emory. I think his name is Cole. I can't remember his first name right now. Just that alone has helped tremendously with the drug problem. They also have a grant. They received a grant to put up cameras. That's going to help tremendously. In terms of joblessness, I'm on Facebook quite often, and pretty regularly I see people post, hey, I just moved to West Tawakoni and I don't have a job. Where's the local food pantry? Now, I feel for these people, especially right now. The economy is taking a downward turn. We should all be concerned. But somehow we have created a scenario that it is okay to come here if you don't have a job or you have a drug problem. I think the only way to combat these things is, number one, getting all members of the city council to start talking, bridge the gap that's been ailing them for such a long time, and put a plan in place on what they want the city to look like and what is our goal in the next 3 to 5 years. We can't just grab them off the street. Greg Abbott can grab them off the street and send them to a city if they're illegals. But our real problem here that I'm seeing is homelessness, joblessness, and drug addiction.
Okay. And so back in September 2022, the Hunt County Commissioners Court declared Hunt County to be under a state of disaster due to the possible ramifications of the influx of the illegal immigrants from the Texas state border with Mexico. What do you feel we can do as a city? And if you were voted to be on the council, would you do to help to ensure the situation doesn't worsen for our city regarding this declared state of disaster?
Sure. So this topic is definitely on the national stage, and it's all over the news all the time. It has been for the last few years. So, again, I don't know all of Hunt County. I only know what I see here in West Tawakoni. And maybe I have missed it, but if there is a large immigration population here that is taking up the resources, I haven't necessarily personally seen it. The restaurant people that I frequent, the people that own businesses here, they're hardworking community members of West Tawakoni. But again, what I do see here is joblessness, homelessness, and drug addiction. And I will say that all of them are Caucasian.
That's it.
Your surprise question.
All right, surprise question.
Surprise!
All right. Okay, so the boards, committees that are put up through the city of West Tawakoni, they place people on the boards and the committees.
Yeah.
Do you think that the boards and committees should be made up of only people that live in the city of West Tawakoni that have paid taxes, blah, blah, blah? Or do you feel like it could be anybody at all, anywhere?
So I truly believe that it should be citizens of West Tawakoni. The problem that we have is there's not enough interest. So if you're really trying to look for people that, number one, are interested in devoting their time, and then number two, people that want to invest their time but also have experience and aren't going to just be, we don't need people that are just going to sit in a chair and not be able to offer something. We need people that have new ideas, want to problem solve. So right now, ideally, yes, they should all be citizens of the city of West Tawakoni. Is that possible in the current state? I don't think it is. So that's kind of a hard question. But if someone in the next town over sees that we're struggling and wants to come and offer their help and they've got the time and the expertise to do it, right now I say the more power to us.
Okay, so what I've found in the last 40 years of living here is that they're not getting the word out to the citizens. So the citizens don't know that there's a vacancy or whatever.
Yeah.
They place people on them just willy-nilly, just friends. Oh, I got a friend that would be able to be on that or whatever.
Yeah.
And so we have to have a way, like she asked earlier about, do you think we should have a Facebook page or whatever, social media page,
Yes.
not just a web page that nobody goes to?
Yes.
Because, really, there's only a handful of people that go to the web page.
Yeah.
But a lot of people use social media and they can see this information.
Yeah.
If we put that out there on social media, more people would see it in our city and we might get more interest.
Yes.
Right now, we don't have a newspaper. We don't have any way for them to get that out.
Mm-hmm.
And all of the mayor and the council and all that, when I brought this stuff up, have said, oh, it's because nobody's interested. Really? Did you go door to door to the 800 different houses that we have out here, or however many there are,
Yeah.
and knock on their door and ask them if they would like to be in it? No. Well, then how do you know there's no interest?
Yeah.
If they don't know, how would you know?
Yeah.
So that's kind of like where I fit in on all that.
I think there's also a lack of education on to know what the residents realize what these different committees do and what the boards do to even be able to gain that interest in it. They have to know what they do.
Well, that's true, but you need to get the word out first.
Of course.
Yeah.
And we're just talking about one thing.
Mm.
We're just referring to the boards and the committees.
Yeah.
And I'm stating, and I can prove that they're not getting the word out to each and every single person in the city. what about all the rest of the decisions and stuff that they make? Are they getting the word from the citizens on that? I don't think they are.
So I'll give you a couple of examples, and this one might hit a little close to home for you. It was last year, I guess, right after the last election, I was asked to be a secretary, or if I would show interest. I wasn't asked to be the secretary. I was asked if I would have interest in being the secretary for the Planning and Zoning Committee.
Yep.
I was also asked if I had interest in being the secretary for the EDC. Those requests were very flattering, but there was no way anyone would have known that other than had someone called me because they knew me personally.
Yeah.
So it's not isolated with just the city council. It's every organization. We're having a trouble getting the word out.
Yeah.
The only thing we can do is word of mouth. So I do believe that all the groups should be coming together a little bit more. I hope that I can help mend some relationships, and we should have a forum. So everything should be in one place. Another thing that we don't do is because we don't have a plan, we don't have a vision for what the city is we should be advertising our city
Yes.
and getting the word out for all of the events that we do have here. And the real estate investment opportunities and the music opportunities and the fishing opportunities, everything is siloed. If you had one place to hold everything, we could easily be marketing our town, and that will help us bring the people that will help us with the growth.
Right.
Now, I will say this. While you have your phone, you've got your phone, I've got my phone, we're talking about social media, we're talking about Facebook, I do know that we have a large group of people that are in the impoverished economic status here. Some people I know do not have computers, they do not have phones, or they have a flip phone type thing where they don't get internet. So we do have a large group of people that actually visit the public library to get internet, okay? So we can't, even if we're just talking about a Facebook page and getting the word out that way, it's still not enough.
Yeah, some don't do Facebook.
Some of them don't do Facebook. So we do need to have everyone come together, everyone understand what all the different positions that are open, the ideas for the city that we need input on, and every single building possible is advertising the information. Now, we're a small town and we are understaffed. So is it reasonable to go knock on 800 people's door and let them know that things are happening? Absolutely not. It's not possible. But there can be some grassroots efforts placed with the local businesses here where we could get the word out, but better than we are doing now.
Maybe a digital billboard.
Well, while we're talking about that, and I don't want to get this cut out, okay? She's going to be doing the cut. I don't want you to chop this part off. This is Bill Creed, by the way. I am with the PNC. I'm the chairman, and we are needing still a city secretary.
There you go.
I mean, a secretary for the PNC, not the city secretary. And it pays $60. It's about an hour-long meeting, but mine usually lasts about 20 minutes or so. And if you're interested, come on out. Call me.
He should have the camera pointed at him right
come
now.
out.
Not
Call
me.
me. How close can I get? I don't know.
Right.
Is that good right there?
That's perfect.
Okay. Yeah. Come on out and see us, okay? Give me a call, 903-268-5353. That is my personal cell phone number. Don't call me just to give me a hard time. All right. Well, it's been fun. That's all the questions. What do you have to say at the end for the people? What do you want to say to them?
Well, I would challenge everyone that has voted for Pam Reed in the past. I know she's been a contributor in the community on a lot of volunteer work. I would say that please take a second look at what's going on. Please look at my experience, look at my enthusiasm for the city, and consider making a different choice this time. She's made some very questionable decisions for the EDC. In my personal opinion, this is not going to be kind. In my personal opinion, she needs to be unseated from the city council and she needs to be removed from the EDC. So my name is Jacqueline O'Connell. You can call me Jack. I will be around, and I'm happy to answer any questions, any emails. Check out my Facebook page. Check out my email address. If you look on Facebook, if you're on Facebook or you go to the library and want to check me out, it's Jacq, Jacq, for City Council, West Tawakoni.
That it?
Thank you.
That's it.
You don't want to give us a little eye roll or anything?
Oh,
No? You cut that part out.
no eye rolls here.
All right. Well, thank you.
Thank you.
All
Thanks
right.
for coming to my home.
Bye-bye.